Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Album Homework Assignment. It's Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us, hopefully over your breakfast or coffee, or maybe it's not even morning for you. It might be afternoon or evening, whenever you might be watching this show. Thanks for tuning in. We've got two very special guests here going head to head, two longtime viewers of the channel. You haven't seen him in a while, but you have seen him here numerous times, Jason Morris. And we've also got, you haven't seen him in a while either, Mr. Robert Lisanti. What's up? It's the all New York connection here today, everybody. So, which is pretty cool. So Rob and Jason have both given each other assignments. They've had, about a week and a half, 2 weeks to listen to them, and they're going to sit here and talk about them today and what they liked about them, what they didn't like about them, right? And then, of course, I will ask each one of them a couple questions at the end, and we'll get to that at the end of each little discussion. So, Rob, we'll have you kick us off with your homework assignment that was given to you by Jason. What was that?
Okay, well, it's funny because Jason and I had we kept going back and forth about, certain bands, and we pretty much know a lot of the same bands. But this band, even though I knew them, which is The Sweet, he gave me Give Us a Wink, which was released back in '76. There you go. I was going to put it on my background, but and to be honest with you, I've only listened to Sweet like maybe once or twice, back when this stuff was coming out in the '70s. I mean, I'm older than you guys. And Ballroom Blitz and Fox on the Run, of course, which was a big hit. I think I had the 45 back when we had 45s, and but I just never really got into them. They weren't like one of those bands that I just ever didn't really do anything for me. Especially around that time, I was listening to Aerosmith and Zeppelin and and Sabbath, and then of course Priest came along a couple years later, and that was it for me. Priest and Maiden and all that. So when he gave me this assignment, I said, all right, I'll give it a go. And I have to say that it's mixed for me. I mean, I like the album, most of it. The biggest dislike I had about the album, I don't know, is that I didn't really love the singer too much. I'm not really crazy about the singer, but the choruses and stuff, they were pretty good. And I did like the musicianship. I liked the drummer a lot. Yeah. I liked which was Mick Tucker. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys have passed away already, because I looked at, I did a little research. Guitar player Andy Scott was pretty good. I mean, he was wailing on a couple good songs there. And Steve Priest, the bass player. These guys were good. They were tight. So to get to the album itself, the opening riff, The Lies in Your Eyes. The first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, it sounds like Teenage Wasteland. It sounds like some The Who a little bit. And then they do this other riff, kind of sounds like the Stones. And it's not a bad song. Just didn't grab me right away. But the next song, Cockroach, that one got me. The drums on that gave me a big Bonham kind of vibe, a Zep vibe. It was a great rocker. I really enjoy that song a lot. And I have to say, the other thing I want to say about this album that I noticed, especially for the time period, there's a lot of racy stuff on this album. I didn't realize it until I started listening, and then I looked up the lyrics to some of these. And I was like, wow, this for '76 is pretty good. Next song, Keep It In. Thought that was a great rocker, great choruses on that song. I didn't, like I said, it was a good song, but it wasn't one of my favorite songs. Now the next song, 4th of July, that was a pretty good rocker. I like the keys in that one. The keys, there's a little like segue in the middle of the song, and I really enjoy that part. Kind of remind me like, something like Deep Purple, something like that, After that was Action, another good rocker. That had a Queen vibe to it. I don't know if these guys were influenced by these bands. I mean, I try to look up who they were influenced by. Everybody was influenced by somebody else. I mean,
I think actually Queen, was influenced by these guys. These guys kind of came first. Yeah, it's funny when you listen to their multi-part vocal harmonies on these early albums. You're like, yeah, wow, that's definitely.
And even the right, and the harmonizing with the guitar, it sounded like Brian May a little bit. So that was a good rocker, and I enjoyed that song. Yesterday's Rain had an opening riff, reminded me of Slow Ride from Foghat. First time I heard it, I was like, that beat in the beginning of Slow Ride. And the vocals were very good on that song. I enjoyed the vocals on that song a lot. Now, the next song for me, White Mice, that sounded like Queen too. I'm wondering, like you just said, Pete, I'm wondering if this was influenced because the riff sounds like Sheer Heart Attack. If you got to listen to that song, you see what I'm talking about. And then there was a great guitar solo in that. That was like my second favorite song on this album. Healer, that was another great strut rocker. Enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot because it was kind of diverse. It was started off rocky and then it got into like this funkiness. There was a like real big funky part in there when the breakdown. And I was like, wow, this is different. It's not something I would associate with in a rock band like this. And I really enjoyed that song. Someone Else Will. Now this is the song I was talking about. I mean, that was a pretty racy song. I mean, the lyrics, if you don't go down on me, someone else will. I was like, what? First time I heard it, I was like, what did he just say? Let me go back and listen to it again. I was like, wow. So that was it was pretty racy. The song was okay. Wasn't crazy about it. And the last song for me, Misdemeanor. The solo in it is fabulous. Love the guitar solo. I didn't think it was a great closer on an album for me. I mean, not particularly. So basically for me, this album, the middle of the album was really good. The first song and the last song, it wasn't, didn't really blow me away. But like I said, the musicianship was great. I really enjoyed the musicianship. I wish the production was better. I guess I'm spoiled now. All these years that we listen to everything remastered and redone or whatever, and just the recording that we do today, it's so much better. But for 1976, I guess it was good. And like I said, I bought the album. I downloaded it. So I mean, I've listened to it probably at least 10 times. I was because I work right where I'm sitting right now. I work here all day, so I just play music all day. I mean, that's my, Pete. I'm listening to music all the time. And I'm always trying to catch up on new albums. So the homework part of this was I listened to it at least once every day, sometimes twice. And like I said, I like it. I didn't love it. I like the album, and I would definitely recommend it for somebody who is into that vibe of the late 70s, and they're into like Queen and Aerosmith or Zeppelin. They're definitely a band like that. I just maybe for me just never took off because it just never gave it a chance. That's the bottom line for me. I don't think I ever gave it a chance. It's like BTO. I had a buddy of mine. He loved BTO and he loved the Sweet, and I just never got into them as much. BTO is another one I want to revisit. I think you were talking about it the other day on one of the shows.
Yeah, BTO is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I would give it. I don't know if you want to do a rating. I would give it like for me a B.
B very solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you obviously. So one of the questions I was going to ask is, would you buy it? And obviously you already have. So that's good, I guess. But another part of the question is, so since you bought it, and this is really your first dive into Sweet, would you consider maybe investigating some other albums in their catalog? Because I will say there are a couple others right from that time period that if you pretty much dig that one, you'll like those as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably do that if, especially if I can download it like on Amazon or something like that. Yeah, definitely would give it a try, or listen to it on YouTube if they're streaming the album.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I definitely would.
Like I would say, Desolation Boulevard.
Okay.
That definitely would be a good, I think, second place to go. On the Record is really good too. They have like probably like 4, I think, that kind of came out in succession. Yeah, that's a good one too, Jason. They got a bunch of them that are really, really solid. That have a good, good amount of like heavy stuff and more kind of like poppy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I've seen. I've seen that album.
Yeah, that was their big one here for the most part. So cool. Well, we got a positive on our first one today. That's always good to see. So let's switch gears. Jason, what were you given by Rob?
Well, before I go into what Rob gave me, when Rob and I were going back and forth, since we like a lot of the same music, but I asked him if he liked the 70s kind of music, the Moxie, City Boy type stuff. And I wondered if he had listened to Sweet. And he said he only heard those two songs, right? Fox on the Run and Ballroom Blitz. I kind of went off that. And I was thinking, okay, well, if he likes those two songs, let's go, this Give Us a Wink is a little heavier for them.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe, and some of the stuff Rob sent me that he produced is pretty heavy. So I thought he would be interested in the heavier Sweet, and obviously it's a win. So that's kind of where I went with the Sweet, because we knew you set us up good, Pete, because we are of the same genre pretty much all the way, not genre, taste all the way through, except for the thrash.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
So the album he gave me is, I don't want to spoil it, but it was kind of, the second I heard it, I had heard of these guys, but I don't remember them. And it was a band called Siam, and the album is called Prayer. Now, the second Rob told me, he spoiled it a little bit by telling me the singer was Tony Mills. I love him. So I have a ton of Tony Mills. So I was pretty excited going in. And especially the time frame that was, I believe this album was 92, 93.
96.
Was that close?
96.
I'm sorry?
96.
96. Okay. But they're a little behind the curve there, because this was still kind of in my wheelhouse, 80s metal with a little Queensryche vibe to it, moving, kind of advanced, moving forward. So the first song was just basically an opener to the next song called, and it was just a soft opening to Sacrifice Divine. And what the notes here is, it really grabbed me right away. I loved the riff, and it was a good mid-pace rocker. I wasn't too crazy about that chorus, but I loved the speaking voice over that chorus when the guy was, I don't know if that was Tony or it was another guy, but that made the chorus okay for me to, because I'm not a big fan of those generic choruses that they just yell the words and there's no inflection. But I really like that song, Sacrifice Divine. The next song, Interaction, was a good mid-pace rocker. Again, right up my alley, and a very early Queensryche feel on that song. So Tony's voice was fantastic. Loved it. The next song was a little generic for me, Sleep Waves. The vocals stand out on this track, and I could listen to this. So I listened to this about 5 times, and what carried every song was his voice. I loved his voice. I just love. I mean, I listen to Tony Mills a lot in that band Shy that he's in, and he has some solo stuff, and he did a couple albums with TNT. Yep. Right. I liked his voice in all of that. The next song is a song called Liberty, very Queensryche song, mid-pace rocker. I really liked it. The next song was a Queen of Swords. Now this song was setting up to be this epic kind of Ed Guy rocker, heavy song, but it stayed kind of in the ballad section the whole time. I was waiting for it to kick in. It never did. But it was decent. But if I was playing this, I would skip that song. The next one is New Age Warning. It was a good rocker, a little generic, but again, Tony Mills' voice carried that song, so I liked it. The next song was a little short intro to the, I guess, Animus. Is that how you say that? Animus. I like the riff. But I've always hated that singing in the bottle thing. You guys might be able to tell me what that actually is. When they sing, I hate that.
Yeah, it's like a megaphone thing.
Yeah.
I hate that. And that was Pete's laughing, but that was kind of, the new thing way back. And they still do it today. I hate it.
Yeah, it pops up every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. I just do not like that because it's like they're going for some new wave thing and it's just not new. It's 30 years old. I hate it. But the song was the riff was good. Now the next song, Christian, was my favorite on the album, and that was I love the melody of it, and it was a mid-pace rocker, but it was very 80s for me, and I enjoyed that a lot. Next song was very soft. It was a very mellow, and Raison de Terre, de Trey. Am I saying that right, Rob?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I skipped that song. I mean, I'm not into unless it's got some hook, some hook personal to me that sounds good to me. I'm not big on the soft stuff. And that last song, which is a kind of had a good beat acoustic number, so that wasn't bad. And again, I'm not really into acoustic. I mean, I like my metal to be metal, and I like it to be electric. So the last song was okay. But I really like this band, and I listened to their first one too. They have two, right?
Yeah, Language of Menace, right? 1994.
That's right.
And that one I don't have that one. I can't find it. That's the problem.
Oh, well, I like that one better, believe it or not. Well, because it was earlier, and it leans a little more toward the 80s. 80s that sound. I know people's favorite sound. The frontier sound. The frontier sound.
The frontier say, that's yeah.
You love it. It's your favorite.
Well, I mean, I don't mind it. I just sometimes a lot of what they pump out all kind of sounds the same after a while.
Right? Sounds the same.
But a lot of it's quality. I mean, you can't deny that. So
I
don't remember ever hearing about this band. So for folks watching, it's Siam, SIAM. And the album is Prayer from 1995. I mean, I know the Shy stuff, and I listened to them a bit in the 80s. And I remember that he sang for TNT for a bit, although I don't think I've heard any of those albums. But yeah, he's got a bunch of solo albums. I mean, this guy, if you look at his discography, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He has done so much over the last, almost 40 years.
And he's the only one in the band that has that kind of background, because everybody else was pretty much just like a one and go, maybe just this band, and that was it. I haven't heard these guys. I looked around myself, did some more research on them. But I mean, I got introduced to them, I don't know, 10 years ago. I didn't know about him either, but I love Tony Mills like Jason. And I started to look into his stuff, and then I found this, and I was like, wow. For me, I mean, to me, I really loved it, because I had that Queensryche vibe and the 80s vibe, and the production on it is great. I mean, I don't know what you thought about the production.
If you're talking to me, I really enjoyed it. It reminded me a little bit of a band called Fifth Angel. They came out with a couple albums in the late 80s. Do you remember them, Pete?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That production kind of was similar, very full, heavy bottom end sound, which I really like about those 80s 80s bands. It's very full sounding. I really enjoy that. So yeah, this Siam reminded me of Fifth Angel.
Cool. So Jason, the question is, would you buy this? Would you maybe just continue listening to it online, whatever various streaming services or whatever, or would you forget all about it? Or also, would you, if you do like it, would you try and continue exploring the catalog? But here it's only 2 albums, so I guess. Well,
I was hoping to get it. I tried to buy it, but it was the cheapest one I could find was $60.
Wow. Oh, so it's out of print.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna and it's not on Spotify, so that sucks.
It's a hard album to get.
You got to do the YouTube thing to listen to it. But I have been listening to it, and I will continue to, and I really like it. And if it gets, in our range of the $10-15 area, I'm definitely buying it.
Keep scouting Discogs. I think that's probably your best bet, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably your best bet. If anybody watching has a spare copy they'd like to sell to Jason, I'm sure he will listen at this point, right?
For sure.
So cool. Well, we got two positives here today. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So I knew this was going to be a good pairing. So very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hook up.
There you go. There you go.
I try to, hey, listen, I try to keep an open mind about all kinds of music. So I listen to a lot of stuff besides metal and rock. I mean, I listen, like you, I listen to jazz and I listen to fusion. I like everything. So for me to revisit the 70s, you know, it's not far-fetched, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. I'm glad that I'm able to appreciate it, you know?
Absolutely. Cool. Well, two good assignments, two positives. That's a good thing. So for all of you watching, if you're familiar with either of these albums, give us your feedback and your comments on these albums down in the comments section below. And make sure you visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday morning on another album homework assignment. For Jason Morris and Rob Lisanti, I am Pete Pardo. See you all tomorrow night on the Hudson Valley Squares. Take care.